So today we're going to talk about dividing decimals by decimals. If you know how to divide whole numbers, then you can divide decimals. There's just one extra step that you need to do in order to divide decimals by decimals. So let's go ahead and look at an example. The first thing that you need to do, the first step, is to make this divisor, the outside number, into a whole number. And I'm not going to go into a lot of explanation about how this works, and I'll try to do a video later that explains that. I'm just going to give you the shortcut this time and walk you through some examples. So in the shortcut, what we're going to do is we're going to move the decimal place. And of course, when we move the decimal, what we're really doing is moving the number over to the next place value to the left. So in this case, the number right now is in the tenths place. It's 0.3, so it's 3/10. We're going to change that. We're going to move that over and move the decimal over here to the right. And if 3 decimal point is just a whole number 3. So I moved the decimal over one place, and that moved the digit 3 into the next place over, which is the ones place. So if we do that on the outside in the divisor, we have to do it in the dividend as well, and the number on the inside. So we're going to move this decimal over, and then we're not going to use those original decimals at all. We're going to ignore them. So what we really did is we multiplied both sides of this equation by 10. But the shortcut is just move the decimal to the right until you get a whole number. So in this case, it's one place. Then move the decimal point the same amount of places on the outside and the inside of the problem, in the divisor and in the dividend. Okay. So now what we have, I'm going to rewrite this because I really don't like to look at the kind of messy crossouts that we have here. So I'm going to rewrite it again. My new problem is going to be whole number 3, because I changed that, I moved that decimal point. Now I moved this decimal point, so 6.6 is going to be what I have in the middle. Now, in the inside, in the dividend. I'm going to show you standard algorithm, but you can do the division any way that you want to. So if I come in now and I go to do this division, I say 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to bring down this 6. You don't have to put this arrow here. I'm just putting it here to show you. 3 goes into 6 2 times again. And then the shortcut I teach my students is this decimal just goes straight up into the answer. So now you have 2.2. So 6.6 divided by 3 is 2.2. We move the decimals, and then we just did a regular division problem like that just has the decimal on the inside. 3 into 6.6 is 2.2. So let's look at another example. Here I have decimal point 12 hundredths into 18.6. Again, I have to end up with a whole number on the outside. So I'm going to take this decimal point and I'm going to move it one place, 2 places. I had to move it 2 places to get the 12 on the outside. I'm going to move this decimal point 2 places, 1 place, 2 places. Well, I have a problem because there's no number here. And what you have to do, you can't leave that blank spot. And in our number system, blank spots, we put a 0 to show that spot has value. So the value of that spot right now is 0 hundredths, but we want to make sure that there's a number in that spot. And now I can do my division. And again, I don't like to try to do the division with those kind of messy marks up here. So I'm, for myself, just going to rewrite it. You can do it any way that you want to. Now you just do the regular division. And 12 goes into 18 one time. I'm going to subtract. We're going to bring down the other 6. 12 is going to go into 66 5 times. 5 times, I know my 12, so 5 times 12 is 60. Other ones, if I don't know that is a multiplication factor, I'm going to have to do some multiplication over on the side. Subtract my 6. Now here's where the 0 comes in and is important. You would have a remainder here, and you don't want that. So if I bring my 0 down now 12 can go into 60. It couldn't go into the 6 by itself, but it can go into the 60. and I'm going to put another 5. 12 times 5 is 60 again. Now I end up with no remainder. Take my decimal point, put it up on the top straight up. My answer is 1 55 hundredths, 1.55. I'm going to show you one more problem, and in this case we're going to take, again, we're going to move this decimal to make this a 14 on the outside. We're going to move this decimal one place. Now you might run into this kind of a problem. Here we have 14 and we have 7. We can't put 14 into 7. But with this decimal point here, if we add a 0, it doesn't change the value of this. Decimal point 7, that's 7/10. It's the same as 70 hundredths. It's exactly the same thing. It's just another way to say it. So we can add this 0. Once this decimal point is here, we can add a 0. Does not change the value of it. So now I can do 14 into 70. So I'm going to rewrite that over here, 14 into, and I can put the 0.70 like it is over here. I can leave the 0 off of the front. That doesn't change the value either. So I'm just going to write it this way to make it a little cleaner. And I think that that's going to go in about 5 times. So let me do a little math here on the side, just with estimating it. I think that's probably it. 5 times 4 is 20. There's 5 and 7. So that's correct. So I'm going to take 14 times 5, and I'm going to make sure I put the 5 over here, because if I put it over the 7, that's telling me that 14 goes into the 7, and I don't want that. I want the 14 to go into the 70, so I've got to put the 5 over on. I have to line it up correctly into what would be the ones column, to the farthest column to the right. It's not a ones column in this case because this is 0.70, but I need to line this up on the far right side. So now I have a decimal point, and again I have a space here. I have to take this space and put a 0. So 14 into 0.70 is 0.05. So that's it. Just remember to move your decimals on the outside to make it a whole number, as many places as you have to move it, once, twice, 3 times, and then move the decimal on the inside the same amount of spaces. Then just do your division problem. Decimal goes straight up, put a 0 if you need to.